You know the name SpaceX, but ask someone what SpaceX actually does as a business, day to day, and you'll usually get something vague: rockets, space stuff, going to Mars, maybe. The reality is quite a bit larger than that. There's already a video on this channel about how SpaceX nearly didn't make it, the near bankruptcy, the fourth launch that saved everything. This one is about what they've built since. It's quite a lot. The starting point, the thing that made everything else possible, is a rocket called the Falcon 9. Before SpaceX came along, getting anything into orbit was extremely expensive, and every rocket that launched was thrown away. Boosters would fall into the ocean after use. Each land required building an entirely new one from scratch. The cost was enormous, which meant only governments and a handful of very large companies could afford it at all. SpaceX changed that by doing something nobody had reliably managed before. They made the rocket land itself. After the Falcon 9 launches its cargo into orbit, the booster, the big lower section that provides most of the thrust, turns around, reignites its engines, and flies itself back to a landing pad. Sometimes it lands on solid ground, sometimes it lands on an unmanned ship in the middle of the ocean. Then SpaceX refuels it, checks it over, and flies it again. One booster has now flown 29 times. Before SpaceX, that booster would have been used once and thrown away. 29 times. In 2025, SpaceX launched 165 rockets. That's their sixth consecutive annual record. It's also roughly half of all the rocket launches that happened anywhere on Earth that year, from any country, any company, any space agency, one company, half the planet's launches. What are they actually launching? A few different things. The biggest category, taking up most of those 165 flights, is their own satellites. SpaceX runs an internet service called Starlink. You might have seen the dishes, about the size of a laptop. You put them on your roof or on a boat, and they connect you to the internet from space. To make this work, SpaceX had to build something quite remarkable. Right now, in 2026, there are over 10,000 Starlink satellites in orbit. Not 10,000 ever launched, 10,000 currently up there, working, circling the Earth every few hours. That's roughly 65% of all operational satellites in space. 2/3 of everything in orbit right now is Starlink. One company built most of what's up there. 10 million people subscribe to Starlink as of early 2026. It's available in over 150 countries. In the United States, it's already the seventh largest broadband internet provider, despite only launching commercially in 2021. The markets growing fastest are the ones with the least existing infrastructure, rural areas with no cables, no fiber, no reliable mobile signal. A fishing boat in the Pacific, a village in Nigeria. In Ukraine, after the 2022 invasion, Starlink terminals ended up being widely used for communications when cables and phone lines were being destroyed. Starlink brought in around $11 billion in revenue last year. The second thing Falcon 9 does is carry people and cargo to the International Space Station. SpaceX has a spacecraft called Dragon. There's a cargo version that brings supplies and scientific equipment to the station, and a crew version that carries astronauts. SpaceX has been flying NASA astronauts since 2020, and right now, they're the only company certified to do it. Boeing spent years trying to build a competing spacecraft, ran into serious problems, and in 2024 found itself with two of its test astronauts stuck on the space station when their capsule developed issues. SpaceX sent up a crew and brought them home. NASA's total contract with SpaceX for crew transportation to the space station is worth around $5 billion. Then there's Starship. Falcon 9 is the workhorse doing the day-to-day work. Starship is what SpaceX is building for everything after that. It's the largest rocket ever built, taller than the Statue of Liberty, powered by 33 engines on the booster alone. It's designed to carry huge amounts of cargo, to be fully reusable, and eventually take people to the moon and beyond. NASA is planning to use Starship as the lunar lander for its next crewed moon mission, Artemis 3, currently scheduled for September 2026. The last time humans walked on the moon was 1972. If that mission happens, Starship is what takes them down to the surface. One of the stranger things about Starship is how it lands. The launch tower is fitted with two giant mechanical arms, nicknamed Mechazilla, which physically catch the returning booster out of the air as it comes back down. Not a landing pad, arms. It catches it like you'd catch a ball. Starship has had setbacks. There was a mishap in May 2026, and launches are currently paused while investigation runs. These things happen when you're testing rockets at this scale. Elon Musk's stated goal is to eventually send cargo to Mars and then people. His own timeline has moved around. He thinks 2031 is probably the more realistic target for a human Mars landing. So that's roughly what SpaceX has become. Half the world's rocket launches, 2/3 of everything in orbit, the only company flying NASA astronauts to the space station, and a rocket under development that's supposed to take humans to the moon for the first time in over 50 years. Started by one person in 2002 with a goal of getting to Mars. The origin story, how SpaceX nearly went bankrupt before any of this was possible, is already on the channel if you want it. Subscribe if you want more of this. See you in the next video.